It's interesting when we think about, Ezekiel 28 in talking to the power behind the king of Tyre. It's clearly a reference to Satan, I think. And it says that he's God speaking, that he was perfect in wisdom. And so Satan, he has to look at God, the creator, the uncreated being, the uncreated creator, all powerful, and yet knows that he can't uncreate God. So God's never going to be destroyed in the sense of ontologically. But what does Satan want? Do you think that Satan is just looking to create a concurrent kingdom on his own where he's being worshipped, and yet it's like, yeah, whatever, if you guys want to go over there, worship Yahweh, fine, but I want my own kingdom. I want to be worshipped, to operate concurrently, knowing that he can never get rid of God fully, but yet, what's he after here?
Well, I'm glad to say that I can't fully comprehend Satan's mind for sure, any more than I can understand the God's mind totally. It always, as we've talked about before, maybe, I don't see how Satan, who knows God perfectly, I mean, he was his most, I guess, his greatest created being in the angelic world. That's the way that it's portrayed. And yet he fell into sin. What is this thing called iniquity? Where did it come from? Mm-hmm. That's a finite concept I don't understand. Infinite mind can't get around that. And why does Satan, who knows this, why does he still think he's going to prevail and is doing everything he can? And then he can look at what God's prophetic words say, and he doesn't seem to be able to get out of that track of following exactly what Bible prophecy says is going to happen and will happen, and yet he still thinks he's going to prevail. Well, to me, that's the ultimate reprobate mind of Romans 1:28. I think Satan has come down to that, and all who follow him will eventually come to that total reprobate, anti-God thing, and I think we see that happening right now, particularly leadership in this country and other countries, and much of the people who follow those leaderships.
Yeah, I think it's amazing too. Again, and the guys did a great job in the book. Is if we look at the way that Satan has worked in the past in trying to establish his new world order, and then we can transition, into talking about what we see in our current events. Is I look and I just go back to Matthew 4. That what does Satan want? Well, the ultimate thing we know when he's talking to Jesus. He tells Jesus, this is what I want. I want, if you, I'll give you all the kingdoms of the world. They're mine to give, all the wealth, the glory, the fame, all of it. If you'll just bow down and worship me, I will give all this to you. And so that's what he wants. He wants Jesus, the Son of God, to grant glory to him in worship and in service. And so as we look into our current situation, as we're approaching the end of the age, we know at the end, in Revelation 13, that everybody's worshiping the dragon. So it's almost as if the New World Order, the globalism, global government, all of that, what that entails, is set to put Satan at the top. And we know that the whole world worships him. And so it's almost as if the New World Order is just a means to the end of him being worshipped. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, yeah, and I think, and that's what he wants. We see that in chapter 13 of Revelation, where he indwells, I believe, the Antichrist, is the son of perdition, and Satan's man. He actually indwells him, I believe, when he is thrown out of heaven. I believe it happens in chapter 12 of Revelation, and he actually indwells, and Satan in that way does get his moment of glory, I guess, because he demands worship. But the second he does, well, Jesus said that initiates the worst time in all of human history. And so God is going to make a statement right then of what he thinks of the earth dwellers, as is put in the Bible. So Satan does want to be worshipped, and again, can explain, knowing God as he knows God, that he cannot be defeated, and he's perfect in every way. Why he did that, I don't know. Where does iniquity come from? I don't know.
Yeah, as far as
I've had some of it in my own past.
Yeah, certainly we have.
Thankfully, I'm saved from that.
We've had enough to be humble. There's no doubt about that.
Yeah.
But yet it's interesting that God says in that Ezekiel 28 that you were perfect until iniquity was found in you.
Mm-hmm.
And we know 1 Timothy 3 and other passages that he fell through pride. He spent too much time looking in the mirror of how beautiful he was, or maybe contemplating how wise he was. And that's not.
And that's why God says that's the number one thing he lists on his list of 7 things he hates.
Exactly.
Is pride.
Yeah.
And what do we have right now? What do we have right now? We have something called worldwide pride. They won't call it gay now, I don't guess, because they don't want to make those who want to be proud think that they are also part of the LGBTQ stuff and all that stuff. But this gay pride thing, in my opinion, God is not going to let this go unpunished.
No, there's no doubt. And I think it's also the other aspect of it is there's a sadness, I think, on in God's heart, and certainly should be in ours as we watch this. I mean, there is certainly some frustration or righteous indignation against the willful behavior and rebellion. But on the other hand, is you think it saddens me for those that are confused because
we should not hate them,
Yeah, exactly. We love them, and I think God is saddened that they've embraced the lie, they've embraced the deception. Satan's the great deceiver. They've embraced the confusion, and to me, it's like well, the great thing as well is when you think about the 2 kingdoms, as you mentioned. Satan's kingdom, he's worshiping, but at the end, he's a tyrant.
Yep,
and so God is going to stop it because he knows that he loves mankind. He created mankind in his image, and it's not good for mankind to be sucked into that tyrannical global government, even worshiping Satan, because he comes to steal, kill, and destroy.
And we see how that's going to happen in 2 Thessalonians chapter 2. The grand delusion. We see how easy that's going to be. We see just from recent past history and issues and events of our time that how easily people are pulled into these lies and so forth. And so the grand delusion, when it takes place, the great delusion of 2 Thessalonians chapter 2, we can see where they're going to embrace the lie even more. And it's very sad. And the only answer to that is prayer and witness, I think.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think as Christians, it's right to be holy. I mean, the Bible tells us, be holy for I am holy. But on the other hand, sometimes all of us can become smug and looking down and to be condescending on those that are not believers, those that are willing participants, and pray for vengeance. I mean, that's not my heart at all. I think we do know that these behaviors sadden the Lord, and God's not eager. He's slow to anger. He's not quick to punish. He will, and he does. But God takes no pleasure in the death of the wicked, right? We have all these, I think oftentimes we leave those out as Christians in general, out of the equation, that, as you said, prayer and compassion for the confusion and the lostness of many people. And that's not just the gender confusion and all that, but just in general for those that have embraced a lost lifestyle.
By the old saying, by the grace of God, there go we, but by the grace of God, and his forgiveness. So we certainly must follow God's will and witness to the saving power of Christ, because that's the only thing that's going to change the world.
Yeah, it's so true. And I think, we, and I'm including myself in here in the sense of we say, there go I, but by the grace of God. But oftentimes we forget, or we say it, it's a cliche, but we don't really believe it.
Yeah.
Sometimes is.
Well, I think the older I get, I do believe it.
Right. That's what I say. There was a time I said it, but didn't really embrace it. But as I get older.
I mean it now.
Yeah, I mean it, because we have as we get older, we have more failures to go, Lord, I'm so sorry. Why did I do that?
And what he has done for us and what he does for us as his children. I mean, he's taken my life, and he's just, he has focused me on certain things, and he's had to be pretty draconian, I would say.
Yeah, I'm glad he has been for me.
But he has, and I thank him every morning for it.
Yep.
I do. I thank him every morning for having let me go through what I went through so that he could focus me on what he wants me to do.
Yeah, kingdom work.
And I'm not being proud or boastful about that. I sincerely mean it.